issue you have about graduate studies, et cetera, go see Rob. If Rob can't help you, then come see me. And if I can't help you, go see Dean Romsick, because she's the next up in the chain of command. But hopefully, that won't happen. We are a very action-oriented department. Our administration is problem-solving oriented. So if you bring us a problem, we'll try to solve it for you. If not, let us know, and we'll move on. Okay, and I guess I have to turn this on, don't I? Yes, okay. I'm going to break this into two. The first is, what is a comprehensive examination here at the American University, all right? How is it going to be presented to you? How is it graded? How you receive the information about how you did, et cetera, et cetera. So that's phase one. The most important part of the talk that I'm going to give you is phase two, and that's how you survive a comprehensive. All of you, by the very fact that you're sitting in this room, that you're accepted into the program, are competent, intellectually advanced individuals who can pass a comprehensive examination hands down. But there are certain things that happen in your mind that increase the probability that you're going to commit hara-kiri in the process of doing your exam. So what I'm going to try to do is go through and say, this is how you do not prepare yourself for hara-kiri. All right? For those of you who don't know what hara-kiri is, ritualized suicide, we're not going to do any of that. Okay. Purpose. Yes, you know what the purpose is. It's to have one more hurdle you have to jump before we give you a degree, right? You're very cynical. Okay. No, there really is a purpose here, guys. The first one is to provide you an opportunity to demonstrate the command of an entire area of study. Now, when you take a class, it's that little piece of an area. You know, if you're taking a, let's say, terrorism class, it's just about the jihad. You know, it's not about terrorism in its larger framework. So that's what these really are. It's an ability or the opportunity for you to take all this disparate information you have and pull it together into some meaningful whole to the satisfaction of knowledgeable society. It encourages you to integrate your knowledge. When you get outside and you're getting jobs in your field, they're going to want to know to what level you can integrate the information. How well can you analyze the data and come up with responses? And encourage you to select a concentration by the end of the first semester. You don't have to select a concentration until you sign up for your comp. That's a requirement. When you sign up for the comp, you have to say what you want to take the comp in. But we don't say you have to get a concentration. You know, well, what is your concentration, young lady? We don't do that because we want you, because our program is so flexible, to kind of feel around, find yourself, and find what you want to do as a career. And that might not be the lockstep of some graduate program. So ours is very flexible. You should select it as soon as possible so that you then can start focusing on getting a vast amount of knowledge in that area. Okay. The examination offers questions in 4 areas. Now, this is under the old system. 4 areas because one of them is terrorism and national security as a concentration. As you all know, we have just created a program that gives a master's in terrorism and national security. We're still going to keep it as a concentration, but my guess is that as time goes on, those who come for that will go into the master's rather than stay in the justice and public policy area of terrorism and national security. Do you know the area that you're going to be?
Jurisprudence and social thought.
Social thought, great.
Terrorism.
Terrorism?
Criminal justice and public policy.
Oh, wow.
Justice and public policy. Justice and public policy.
Wow. This is interesting because the last exam we had, guess what? Terrorism, 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 terrorism. This is wonderful. Okay, so justice and public policy. Also, no one in law and society. Okay, but jurisprudence and social thought, and then finally terrorism. Those are the areas, all right? You must select one of those. Now, you've already pretty much made up your mind what you're going to select. When you talk to Shelley, you're going to say, I want to sign up for the comprehensive in jurisprudence and social thought. Excellent, good. Okay. Basic information. The exam is offered 3 times a year. Usually October, February, and March, as well 4 times a year. 3 times a year, excuse me, and June. Okay, master students typically take it in the middle of their second year. Where are you folks? Middle second year? Middle second year?
End of second year?
End of second year, okay? Okay, yeah, so everybody's just in there. Must be registered for the course, a course, or maintain matriculation. In order to take the exam during either the fall or the spring term, you have to be a registered student at the American University. That means either taking a course, or let's say you finished all your coursework. What you do is you sign up for matriculation, which is 1 credit. So it's $1,000 instead of $3,000 or $4,000, all right? Except for summer. Summertime, you do not have to be a registered student in order to take the exam, okay? That makes no difference for most of you because all you're going to take in October, right? You're taking the upcoming exam? Yeah, okay, good. You're going to pass this exam, so we don't have to worry about you retaking in the summer, right? Good, okay. Questions asked prior to exam are available for study on SPA's website. Are you all familiar with that? You've all gone on the website. You can see all past exams in your area. Also, and I suggest this, if you are at all anxious about your writing ability and your communication ability, then I suggest that you pick a question from one of the old exams, write it, respond to it, and take it to your faculty member. Now, you would go to David Fagelson, Deirdre Golosh, Bill Davies. Terrorism, you'd go to Joe Young, Brian Forrest, or Tom Zaitoff, the new guy. Justice and Public Policy, you'd go to Rob, you'd go to myself, Ed McGuire, okay? And we will read them and tell you how we grade them, all right? So if you think that you have problems in communicating effectively in the written format, I suggest you do this, okay? Because then you get direct feedback, okay? You must declare your concentration. I said this earlier when you're signing up. The reading list. The reading list has been put together by your faculty. It's a very short reading list. We basically ask faculty that if they're going to add something new, which usually they do, that they take something else off, keeping it to a page and a half of reading. Now, if you're looking at, is it Justice and, I don't know whether it's, no, it's Justice and Public Policy. It looks like you've got a tremendous amount to read. But in the past, what we did is we gave you just the book, and you were responsible for the whole book. Now what we've done is say, well, you're not responsible for the whole book, you're just responsible for these chapters in that book. So, in fact, it turns out, although we've listed, 2 pages of all this garbage, excuse me, serious research. Now we say, okay, these are the only chapters you need to focus on, okay? One of the things, especially for people in Justice and Public Policy, if you're going to cite an author, cite the author of the study, not the author of the collection. All right? Good. Divided into 4 areas. Again, if you look at the list, it's in the 4 areas you have. It's updated usually once a year. It's supposed to be finalized in May. For some reason, I couldn't get faculty. Everybody's going on vacation. I couldn't get faculty members to actually do the update. Very few changes have taken place. So if you looked at the reading list when you guys came in, very few have changed place. In terrorism, there are 2 new offerings, and in justice and public policy, there's 1 new offering. Okay? So very close, all right? Okay, and the current list, of course, is on the web. Questions? You can adequately answer the question from the reading list. Now, what does that mean? That means you can get a passing grade. I find, and I think from looking over other exams, people who get the distinction, which is the highest, not only go to the reading list, but bring in cites and sources that are outside the reading list. The only thing we guarantee is you can get an adequate grade only reading what's on the reading list. That's bringing nothing else in from class, nothing, okay? But I'm telling you that, at least from my experience, is that if you want to get a distinction, then you're bringing in things from class, from other readings you've done, et cetera, all right? 4 questions will be presented. You have to answer 2. Now, I'm not going to go into this about how you select, because when I get into surviving the exam, that's when I'm going to get into that. Okay, you have 3 hours to complete, which means about an hour and a half per question. You have 3 hours. You will be timed. Hour and a half is enough time to answer most questions, unless for some reason you have writer's block. You may use a computer, and usually we do it down in the computer lab in Ward, or if you insist on doing it by hand, you're usually put here in room 311, all right? You need to let Shelley know about that in advance. Okay, so good, so far so good. Students may write their, okay, dictionaries will be provided and computer users may use spell check. All right? Grading. They're graded by faculty in your area. So all you have to do is look at the faculty that we have, what classes they teach, and you're going to know what the area is. I mean, you know who your jurisprudence and social thought people are. You know who your terrorism people are. And you know who justice and public policy, all right? What's going to happen is that there are going to be 2 readers. Your exam will be sent anonymously to 2 readers. Now, it might be for the 4 questions, you might have 4 readers because each one has a little bit different expertise. Like if you wrote a question in corrections, I guarantee you I would not be reading it. Rob Johnson would be reading it and Rainey Ransom would be reading it. If you do police, it's going to be me and Ed. But let's say you cross over and you do a little police corrections. Well, it might be Rob and I or Ed. Are you following? So it's really, Rob is going to look at the responses and say, okay, who is the best qualified to review? There are going to be 2 reviewers on each question. They must come to a consensus. So they're going to read, they're going to figure out whether they're going to give you distinction, which is the highest, satisfactory, which is all you need, or unsatisfactory, which means we're going to have to do this one again. So those 3. So they get together and they say, okay, I read Rob Johnson's, his question on hard time in prison. I thought it was a distinction. Well, no, wait a second, Professor Bennett, I don't think it was a distinction. I think it was just okay. Now we have to resolve it. Is it a distinction or okay? So I'm going to try to convince you it's a distinction. You're going to try to convince me it's an okay. But we have to come up with a consensus, and that will be your grade. Okay? Okay. After grading completion, each student, his or her overall performance is categorized as passed, passed as satisfactory, or not passed. Okay, those are the 3 options. And really, this is what you want. Distinction, that's great. And you get a little tiny blurb on your transcript that says comprehensive, passed with distinction. If it's satisfactory, you get nothing. And I'll tell you, the only reason that your potential employer is going to look at your transcript is to make sure of the last line, degree granted. I'm telling you. Employers, it's the interview that's going to make you or break you. The only thing that that employer wants to know is that, yes, you have the degree. Okay? So shoot for distinction, except satisfactory. All right? Yeah, good. Okay. All students who take the exam will receive their results the same time. This is a policy we have. Now, if PhDs take it with you, when all the PhDs are graded, we'll tell the PhDs. So it's the group. When it is completely graded, they'll receive their answer and you receive it by email. And hopefully it's going to be, did I just do something? Got technology problem here. See if you can get my technology problem going. Where was I? Oh, you have to do it again? The results, right, okay. So as a group, you'll receive an email. When Rob has all, and Shelley has all the material in from everybody. Now, certain disciplines our readers won't mention. Our readers are not as conscientious in terms of getting the responses back as others. So it's not just your concentration. It's going to be when everyone who's taken the exam, when we have those findings, then we distribute them, okay? And so why am I not doing this? Nope. I really would like to have this on the screen. Okay. So, what if the unthinkable happens? And I mean unthinkable. Can you keep trying on this, Shelley, to get this thing?
It's cooling down.
Oh, is that what it is?
It's overheating.
Oh, geez. Okay. If the unthinkable happens, and I don't think it will, you have 2 chances to take the exam. Now, that being said, if you fail a second time, you can always appeal to Rob Johnson and the school to take it a third time. But usually what we'll ask you to do then for the third time is to give us a plan, a written plan, as to why you think you're going to pass it the third time, but you didn't pass it the first two. Rarely do we have a person who fails the exam. Even rarer when we have a person that fails it twice.
So we're taking it again in February?
You can take it again the next time, okay? So that's up to you and your advisor, sit down. The thing that you should get back from the faculty member is why they thought you failed. So read it over. Go talk to the faculty member, because remember, we have a small faculty. It's going to be the same faculty member probably reading your next exam. So you need to find out, why do you think I didn't do an adequate job? Okay? So, any questions so far? Oh, and by the way, second time around, you don't have to select the same area. You can select a new area if you want. Okay. Preparing for the comprehensive. Were there any questions about the mechanics? Yeah.
It takes 4 to 6 weeks to get the results. If we pass, like most of us, if we pass it now, we're gonna be graduating in December, the 5th.
Yeah.
I think it's the date. Do you guarantee that we're gonna know before December 5th if we pass or not? Because, for example, me, that I'm from another country.
Yeah, I cannot guarantee it. I will tell you that we have changed systems dramatically since we did 4 to 6 weeks. Now what we do is this. The last graduate coordinator we had liked to do everything in paper. So we distribute the comps and the questions to the faculty in paper in their mailbox. Well, if the faculty didn't come in for a week, you're a week off. This last round, Shelley, do you have any data on how long it took? The last round we did, I was the graduate director, so what happened is when it came in, I took what you wrote, I scanned it, and sent it to the reviewers that day. So they had the exam, they had the questions, and it was sent to the reviewers, and I noted who the second reviewer was.
It took about 6 weeks. It took about 6 weeks.
6 weeks?
The reason why it took about 6 weeks is that we don't receive all of the readers' responses at the same time.
Yeah.
And we want to disseminate your pass-fail or satisfactory or unsatisfactory progress at the same time. So, in other words, I don't want to notify Hannah and not notify Juliana.
Yeah.
So
And this
that
this
even effort to make it a kind of an even.
This again gets back to the reviewers. As I said, in some areas there are reviewers who just, although I've written them again, said, hey guys, it takes you 5 minutes to read this damn thing. Read it and tell me. And, 2 weeks later you get, well, yeah, I guess it's a pass. But that was 4 or 5 weeks into the,
Because it's less than 6 weeks between October 17th
yeah.
and December 5th.
We will do everything we can to make sure it happens. It's just that we run up against, and it's only 2 faculty members. We run up against them every time. And, we don't have a stick. Well, I have a stick. But in academia, you don't have sticks, you have carrots. And if they don't want to eat the carrot, we will try every way we can to make sure that you graduate on time. All right? Good. Okay. What area of knowledge are contained in the reading list? Look at the reading list. Study it. Is there broad stuff, theoretical? Does it go down to empirical? Try to get a feeling for what the list is, because the question will come from the list. The better you're able to analyze what's in the list, the better you're able to talk about it. How do the readings fit together? Do they fit together? It might be that you're asked a particular question about law enforcement and community policing, and you can say, well, the literature's really split on this. There's a whole group of researchers that says X, Y, and Z, but there's a whole other group of researchers that says A, B, and C. That's leading towards a distinction, by the way. Why? Because you're starting to integrate the literature. Okay? Look at the past comprehensives. Guys, what is the best way to predict the future?
Know the past.
Know the past, yeah. So look at what the range of questions that are asked, because it's probably going to be something fairly similar. Are they broad or are they specific? Do they ask you, okay, now you're the warden of a correctional facility in Virginia. You've decided that one of the problems is that the people are not being integrated. What program would you put together? Specific. You got to name names. Or it could be a very broad question. You following? So again, see what's been done. Is it creative or comprehensive? The first question, the question is creative, right? It's asking you, what would you do as a warden to alleviate this problem? What areas have been explored? Is there duplicate or repetitive questions? Keep your radar up for that. Do they relate to your reading list? Specific knowledge versus broad understanding. Again, try to dissect past comprehensives, because the same faculty is going to be writing your comprehensive questions this time. Once you know what they're interested in, once you know the variation of their interest, you can probably pretty much sit down and write the question before you read it. Okay? Pace yourself concerning the readings, integrating the literature, and practicing sample questions. The night before the exam, you should not study. I can't tell you how many people, oh my God, I haven't read this, I'm going to... Don't you dare study the night before the exam. What are you going to do? You're going to do something relaxing. You're going to take in a movie. You're going to have a good meal at a restaurant with a friend. You are not going to study. You're going to get a full night's sleep. You're going to wake refreshed. And are you going to pick up any of your notes to study that morning? You do, and I'll run you down the hall, I'll grab you, and I'll steal your notes. No, unacceptable. The reason being is that we are not asking for, in 1814, August 12th, what happened to John Jones? You're not going to get a question like that. These are questions that require you to think, to bring together big concepts and make them whole. And you don't do that with no sleep, anxious, and reading facts the first thing in the morning. I'm telling you, Harry Carey, that's the way to commit it, all right? Okay, have a good breakfast and relax. When you enter the exam room, take 3 breaths and get down to it. This is something you can do very well. You are prepared for this. You've read the reading list. You've taken classes. You've done very well in your career so far. You can do this. Okay? You're going to be presented 4. Read all of them. Read them carefully. Make a tentative choice of 2. Then read the questions over again to see if you've made the best choice. Be very cautious in your questions. Some questions will ask you for more than one area of a response. Most people who fail the comprehensives fail the comprehensive because they had a question that asked for 3 things and they did 2. Is everybody following me what I'm talking about? Okay, so what does that mean? When making your selection, how confident you can respond to all elements of the question, how well do you command of the research literature in that area? Okay? Outline your answer. Outline, outline, outline. Why? Because I'll tell you why. You're going to start writing, and let's say it's a 3-part question. You're going to start writing, and oh man, the juices are flowing. Man, those keys are just humming, you know? And you're going along, you're having a great time. And then it's almost an hour up, and you say, did I kill that question or not? Yes, you did the first of the 3 we asked. You just failed the exam. Okay? We don't want a mind dump. We want something that reads well, that has a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's really hard to read something that's scattered. That comes by you a mind dump, where you just say, oh my God, and you just start hitting the keys as fast as you can. We want you to think through what your answer is, what the major points you're going to make, and you do that by doing an outline. It takes 5 minutes. Then stick to the outline. Yeah.
Will we be given paper to
Oh, yes, yes.
outline?
You're going to be given blue books.
Oh, okay.
Now, you have to turn everything in, but yeah, outline it, outline it, outline. Guys, just, I can't tell you. I've been doing this for a long time. And you read a question, you go down the first paragraph, and you pretty much know if it's going to be a pass or not. Because if it's just a mind dump, you're going, oh, Lord, you know. Okay, stick to the outline.
So it should be structured like an essay with introduction and conclusion.
Well, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
a question's going to be asked of you. So you're going to introduce it by saying, I'm going to, see, because we're in some questions so broad, we let you go the way you want. So, you know, in answering this question, I'm going to focus specifically on da-da-da-da-da. Now, it might be compare Hobbes and Locke. Well, you know, you don't need much of an introduction, do you? But if it's a broad question talking about some philosophical issue, then you might say, well, you know, the literature talks about 3 ways of approaching this problem. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Yeah, right, good, okay? Don't leave the testing area. Once you look at the exam, you have taken it. Okay? Once you physically look at the questions, you've taken it. You only get 2 takes. You failed the first one if you walk out. I have, in the past, chased a student down. This is when Nebraska lot was still open. Because I was in, and Linda Spicer, who was the previous Shelley, Linda came up to me and she said, you know, Dick, so-and-so, I won't tell you your name, so-and-so just left the room. And I said, okay, going to the bathroom. No, Dick, you understand. She left the testing room. She's going home. So I figured, okay, it's a student. Students get parking privileges in the Nebraska lot, so I head out and I catch her. And I knew her. And I said, I know what the questions are. I know you can answer them. I've had you in class. You can answer them. Oh my God, no. Well, so I forced her back in. She sat down, she took the exam, she passed. Don't let panic take over. You guys can do this. Once you look, okay, that's it. So you only get 2 opportunities. You have nothing to lose about taking the exam. If you've done what I've talked to you about, you already know what the questions are going to be. Maybe not the specific wording, but I guarantee you, when you see that exam, you're going to sit down, 2 of the questions you're going to already have pre-guessed. Now, okay, not the exact wording, but the focus. Because the same faculty are writing the questions, guys. I want you to look back at the questions that have been asked over the last 5 years. And you'll see, but by and large, they're pretty similar. So take advantage of that, all right? I want you to look back over the old exams, figure out what the questions might be, look at the reading list. How do you put the reading list together to answer those questions? If you feel any bit uneasy, write one up, take it to the prof in your area, and ask them to grade it. Ask them to review it and tell you what they think. Yeah? Okay. What determines a distinction from a pass? Student integrates research literature in a comprehensive fashion. All major research is included in the answer. Now remember, we guarantee you that if you understand the reading list, you will pass the comp. Okay? There's going to be nothing in the comp that you cannot answer from using the list that we provide you. Distinction is when you go beyond. Okay? Once finished, go celebrate. Guys, once you pass that in, time's up, you've passed in your exam, there's absolutely nothing in this world that you can do to change the outcome. Right? Celebrate. Relax. Go out, have a great time. Go out with your friends. You know, if you have people, I don't know, you guys close? Both in the Justice and Public Policy? Okay, plan your celebration. And in your celebration is, how did you answer question number 2? Don't you dare do that. Do you hear me? I'm going to come haunt you if you do.
It won't be me.
Oh, don't you dare do that. Celebrate. It's over. It's out of your hand. You've done a great job. It's kind of the, you know, the last hurdle that you have to jump through your graduate program. Celebrate, celebrate, celebrate. Remember, it's going to take, remind me to change this. This is old. There are no third readings. I haven't looked over this in a while. Sorry. Remind me, Rob, or would you remind me to go through the whole thing and bring it up to date? Okay, good. Oh, yeah, Eric, if you would, too. Eric's my guy. He cracks my whip. Okay. Any questions? You guys can do this. Yeah.
I have a handful of questions, but I'm going to try not to be
Okay.
really annoying about it. The first thing in the
It's all the tone of voice that makes it annoying or not.
in the instructions that were on the website that mentions that you can bring in class information to your
Yes, yes.
Is there a specific way that we need to cite class information, or do we just take for
Just as you
granted
would.
that we know it?
Just as you would. If it's not in a book, but it was given to you in a lecture by Joe Young, then what you say, lecture with Joe Young and, fall 2014. No, you do it just as if it was an interview. Because it is an interview, right? I mean, it's a structured interview, but it's an interview. So if it's coming from a professor from a class, then you want to cite the professor. You can bring in anything that you want. Again, the only thing we guarantee is the questions can be adequately answered from the reading list. That doesn't mean you're bound to that reading list. No, my feeling is, look, if you, and most of you have studied the issue to a greater depth than what we're going to ask you in the question, or what the literature in the reading list has to offer, use that. Bring it in. Yeah. That's the difference between a pass and a distinction, is your ability to integrate more things than just the reading list. Yeah. How about it, guys? Any more? Yes.
Okay. A lot like the Wilson and Petersilia book has a lot of different articles.
Yes.
We're going to cite the author who wrote the article.
That's correct.
But if inside that article there's another big study that we don't have it in another reading.
Okay, what you can say as cited in.
Okay.
Yeah. Good. Now, are we really sticklers for dates? Not really. If you go, oh, damn, is it 1990 or 1994? We're not going to say, well, see, it was 1993, you fail. That's not going to happen. We just don't do that. Now, if you really get the import of the quote wrong, then we might ding you. You might say, well, the student really should probably reread this particular selection because they didn't get the import of what the author was saying or the research was saying. You have more questions? Go ahead.
To expand on that, so I understand this, you always cite the chapters, but for example, on the reading list for JPP, the Police in America book, Brandel and Barlow.
Yeah, right.
That's what it says on the reading list, but the chapters are individual authors.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I just want to make sure that if I don't.
I would cite the authors. I don't know why we didn't expand that.
Okay, I just want to make sure that I'm not, it will be recognized as, oh, this is the book from the reading list.
Well, it doesn't have to be recognized as the book from the reading list.
Wow.
See, let's go back. Every question can be answered from the reading list. That doesn't mean you need the reading list to answer the questions.
Okay.
Yeah.
So technically, if it's not recognizable from the reading list, it could benefit you in a way.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see? Yeah.
They'll make it something else. Okay. That works too.
Hopefully, the reviewer that's reviewing you, who sees that Jack Green wrote an article in Bartlow's book, knows it's Jack Green. Yeah.
Okay.
Another question. I've looked at the past ones and I see that there's always one correction, one crim theory, and two policing. We the other day were studying and we asked ourselves if crim theory is more related to our concentration, why don't they do two crim theory, one correction, one?
That's a good point.
Because a lot of us who haven't taken a policing class have thought that we will focus more on corrections and crim theory.
Yeah.
And if there's that
Well,
means
one
we're
of
locked in.
the things that Rob and I have been doing in the past is we give a question, and the question is such that we say you can either answer it from the standpoint of the police literature, or from the standpoint of the corrections literature or prosecution literature.
Yeah, you have to read that carefully to see that. You can do one or the other.
Yeah. So, but read the question carefully, but because Rob and I have had the same issue. Okay, I'm a police guy, he's a corrections guy. We don't know until you sign up who's going to be taking the course and what their real interests are. So what we've tried to do, and the last 2 exams we've done it, haven't we?
Yeah, I believe it.
What we try to do is we try to say, okay, you can either answer this from a police perspective or a corrections perspective. And at least one question's like that. Now, you people are crim? That's your concentration? Oh, you're crim also?
My first time taking a policing classes this semester. Oh my
Oh,
God.
you're taking Furman?
Policing.
Do you love him?
Yeah.
Isn't he a great guy? He really is, yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, we don't have a lot of books to read. Like, it's more
Yeah.
like a discussion, so
Yeah.
all of our classes
But-
have been crim theory.
But see, the issue is this, is that when you take the exam, if you're going to answer a police question, you've read the stuff on the reading list. And now you've had John Furman and all the guest speakers that have come in who are top-notch people in the field. So you cite them. You can cite presentations. You know, John usually has Kathy Lanier in. Is she?
She's coming in, but
Okay,
after the conference.
She usually always has Kathy in, and a lot of other people. But let's say she was in last week. Well, and she makes statement X, Y, and Z, and you go, wow, this is exactly relevant to the question. You can say, you know, interview with Kathy Lanier, da-da-da-da-da, chief of DC Police.
So you don't have a minimum of references?
No,
Okay,
no, there's not a minimum. I mean, if you put one reference in, you're probably going to be in trouble.
yeah.
But no, there isn't. We do not count references. We think about how well you have stated your case. That's why I'm saying don't do a brain dump, because brain dumps are not well stated. Do an outline. You know, what are the major points? How should my essay flow? No, I'm biased. If I read a really well-written exam, I have a tendency to focus less on how much was cited. That's my bias. And I don't know what Rob's biases are, but
No, I'm just saying, if it's well written, that means it's well thought out. In order to write it well, you have to have thought out
Yeah,
what
yeah.
you're saying, so it tends to be a better answer.
yep.
Question here?
Yes.
About how long on average are like each of the questions?
Oh, how long are the questions or the answers?
I mean, the answers, I mean, yeah.
That really varies. Shelley, I've seen 2.5 pages and 5
I was just gonna say, about 2.5 pages.
is average.
Yeah.
Yeah, is average.
If you've read the question thoroughly and you have outlined at least the major, this person is asking me 3 separate components within this one question, it usually takes about 2.5 to 3 pages.
And that's double spaced.
Yeah.
Please, double space. Oh. You know, Rob and I, and the rest of the faculty, except some of our, Joe Young, are getting a little long in the tooth. And we like to see type that we can read. So please, double space. Yes.
So my intention in asking this question is not to ask you what the questions are going to be. It
Okay.
might sound
I can't tell you because I don't know.
right.
I have even less input, but when I was director, I would say, okay, Rob, and I'd get all the people, Shauna, Joe Savage, all the people in Justin Public Policy. Guess what? Time of the year, send me your questions. And I have no idea what I'm going to get. What I would do then, I assume Rob's going to follow, is I'd put together the exam. Now, maybe it has 5 questions, maybe 6, depending on how many I got. And I'd send it back to everybody. Because Shauna didn't know what Joe Savage sent in, and I didn't, Rob didn't know what either of them did. So I sent it back to him. I say, okay, here are 5 questions. What for do you want presented to the students? So,
Well, I guess our concern was when we were studying old questions, there was one from, I want to say 2012, that said, in taking stock in the Agnew chapter, what was the research findings of this particular concept? Which obviously is.
and you would not answer that question, would you?
Really.
Unless you really knew Agnew.
Right.
Yeah, okay.
And so I'm wondering
That's-
if there was any just general moving away from that kind of specificity in the last couple of years.
Well, haven't you looked? I think there have. I think we have.
I'm just looking for confirmation.
Yeah, I think that is the only time we had something that I was not chair.
Yeah.
I would have
Noted.
said, let's redo that question.
Okay, that's good.
That's too specific.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, what I might have allowed was the concept that he talks about, Agnew talks about, and says, how do other people respond to it?
Okay.
But not, what were the findings of this obscure research study? That we won't do. Yeah.
A lot of the times for a lot of the years, there's no questions for my concentration. So
Yes, that's right. Again, very few people, and I'm sorry, very few people have signed up in your concentration.
so that's why I didn't know if they were just like
No. So the only time we put an exam together, now the last 2 exam periods, there were students. So you have at least 2. Then I think you have to go back 5 years? 4 years. It's been a while. No, it's not that we're saying, okay, we're going to censor people in jurisprudence and social thought.
It was like I didn't know, didn't end up getting scanned in or something. So I was just
No. It's just that since no one, I'm going to get a list from Shelley, or not, excuse me, I'm not. See, I'm still in that role. Rob's going to get a list from Shelley, and it's going to say who's taking what exam. Then Rob's going to go to the people in that area and say, okay, guys, give me questions. All right? So if, like Law and Society, now, I don't know if there's another person who didn't come tonight that's going to be in Law and Society. But if not, there won't be a Law and Society exam.
We've got representation from every class.
Oh, we do? Okay. So, sorry, Rob. You got to do them all.
You can handle it.
Yeah. So, yeah.
I was wondering.
Yeah.
Thank you.
But again, guys, you know who is going to be writing your questions and who's going to be grading them. Let's have a little intelligence work here. Let's go down and sit with David Fagelson,
Yeah, I had him last semester.
okay? And say, hey, David, what's up? No, really. These are people going to be reading and writing your questions. Now, will they tell you what the question is? Probably not. But, you know, what are you thinking these days? What are you reading? Huh? What are you reading? Anything on the list you're reading? Yeah. No, just talk to your professors. That's what they're for. And most of them love to talk. David loves to talk.
Yeah.
He'll talk your ear off.
I know that quite well.
Yeah. So yeah, do that. I'm here until you guys run out of questions.
Or pizza.
Well, we're not out of pizza, so.
No, you've been all right,
Yeah.
though.
I wish that we could get these things turned around to you in a more rapid fashion. I do. I haven't written nasty emails, but I've written persistent emails to a couple faculty members about, come on now. You know, guys, you are the last person to get yours in. That's one of the drawbacks I see. And Shelley, you're going to see the frustration. Well, you've already seen the frustration. Yeah, in students saying, hey, come on. You know, I want to know.
I need to go back to my country.
And 9 times out of 10, the person who is asking, we already know whether they passed or not.
One question I have is on test day, are
Yeah.
there things that we should know about? I know it says report to the JLC office.
Oh, yeah,
or-
just
like we can't bring our bags in. Can we bring like water?
What you're gonna do is you're gonna
Yeah, oh.
leave all of your personal belongings in my office, which is gonna be locked for the duration of the exam.
yeah.
You're allowed to bring water, you're allowed to bring a snack, we don't want you to get hypoglycemic
Yeah.
and call out on us. But that's really it. I will provide,
Everything,
writing
yeah,
tools, so
yeah,
I'll provide
yeah,
pens
yeah.
or pencils, I'll provide the blue books. And then at the close of the exam, I'll be saving, all of your comprehensive exams on a thumb drive.
Yeah. Also have them send them to Rob,
Yep, yeah, absolutely.
so we have
The
backup in
conclusion-
case something
Yep,
is
they
corrupted in
email
the
it
thumb
to me,
drive. Yeah,
they'll
yeah.
Email it to me and I save it on a thumb drive.
Yeah.
Because all of the memory on the computers downstairs, as soon as they're shut down, they're completely wiped.
Yeah, so
there's
anything
no
that you
way-
have on there, it's gone.
Yes.
And they also disconnect them all from the internet. So you have a dumb machine, you have a dumb terminal.
So how are we gonna send it to your email?
We reconnect you to the internet at the conclusion of the exam.
Yeah. Yeah, make sure that there are at least 2 or 3 copies in different media.
Yep.
Because I know the day that we only have 1 copy, something's going to happen. And we're not going to have you sit through that exam again after you've already done it.
And I always confirm receipt of the comprehensive.
Oh, yeah,
exam.
yeah,
So
right.
you send it to me in the email and I email you right back as soon as I get back to the office that says receipt. So you have a copy, I have a copy, and we also have it on the thumb drive.
Yeah.
And then it goes into the internal storage.
Yeah.
So we keep it.
Yeah.
That is for sure.
That's always our fear. You know, that it'll be put on one medium and the medium's corrupt. And we won't be able to recover it. So,
Yeah, I can't if I could be so bold as to insert just one.
Sure, of course, Shelley.
is that I can't emphasize enough what Dr. Bennett is saying about outlining, about practice, about accessing the previous comprehensive exams online. Do it with your roommate, do it with your buddy, do it with one of your peers in your cohort, that you're practicing the timing. I've noticed a little bit of trouble with the timing when I give you you're halfway through exam time kind of marker, folks were scrambling trying to get to the second question. So just kind of practice the timing, practice outlining, practice reading through the question and getting to the main point so that way you're not flustered on the exam day.
Yeah.
I cannot emphasize that enough. We want you to be set up for success, so please, please, please.
Yeah, no, I can't stress it enough, outline, guys. It really makes a difference. You can tell the people have outlined in terms of the flow of what they're doing.
I do have one final question, but it's kind of specific.
Did she
so I
say final? Did
apologize.
she say final?
Yeah,
Oh,
you
oh.
see, I've been compiling this list for like
Okay.
a couple weeks. The one reading that we have on our list is by Kleiman. It's a 1998 NIJ archives about deterrence, and I cannot find it anywhere. I spent about 30 minutes.
It's not online?
That's
You're kidding me.
the article.
Yeah, it's one of the articles.
Do you have it?
I have.
Where'd you find it?
It's online. It's in the archive.
I
couldn't find it.
Go to NCJRS, go to the archive. Is that how you did it? Go to the archive and give the name. Yeah.
Okay, well I'll get it tomorrow.
No, the wonderful thing about those reports is that they're always available. You don't have to go to a library, you can just download it right at home.
I
Yeah.
was confused.
Are you
Okay,
talking about the
never mind.
getting deterrence?
Yeah, it's just that it's really big. It's just, there's like 4 chapters in it, and it's only one listed. So
Okay.
probably you're getting it.
Okay, good,
I
good.
won't do that. Thank you.
Justice and social thought? Justice of jurisprudence and social thought? Any issues?
What I can think of right now.
Terrorism?
No, just the concern about getting grades back, timing, but.
Really short.
I won't mention names, but your folks are great. Joe Young, Brian Forrest are not a problem. Brian will get it back the next day. He's really good. And so will Joe Young. They're not the problem. Okay. Yeah.
No, I agree.
Yeah,
We need
yeah.
to think about ways to condense the time.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see if we can. I have some ideas.
Well, if you have ideas, anything we do, look, it only takes really about 15 minutes to read and grade your response. 15 minutes. It's not as if we're asking you to do a 5-hour, essay review. So. That's it?
Well, yeah.
For now. Listen, guys, you know where my office is. I'm there always. I'm sorry to say. You know where Rob's office is. He's here always Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.
It is.
So, anything you need, just come on by. If we're there, we'll talk to you. Just walk in. You don't have to make an appointment. Okay? Great, guys. Hey, good luck.
Thank you for everything.
You're going to do well. Hey.